So, if you've been watching my channel for really any length of time, you've probably known that I've made a couple of combat knives within the past, well, be this year, but I don't know when I made my first one, where they have, your typical combat kind of hunting knife shape, very practical look with a stacked leather handle. I made two different ones of those. One of them was kind of the first one the Navy started using. The other one was one that is well known as the K-bar, or similar anyway. But if you've been watching a little longer than that, not quite a year ago, I made what I called a tactical knife. That was actually a gift for a friend of mine from work. The goal of that was basically it had kind of a tanto style blade, or a very modern tactical version of that, which I actually really like the design of. I have a pocket knife like that, and I've kind of used that since. So I have that, only had wood scales, with brass pins in it. And I want it to be I want it to be a tactical knife, but made using old style techniques. For this though, I want to kind of combine that tactical knife with the combat knives, have the kind of tactical tanto style blade. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right, but anyway, not important. So I have that type of blade with stacked leather handle and guard. I have this piece of just half a leaf spring. I find it's a lot easier if I just slice them down the middle, because I can squish this out a little bit easier than I can hammer it in on itself, because that takes a lot to do. And this isn't really going to need to be a large blade anyway. I want it to be a little shorter. And so yeah, I'm going to chuck this in the forge and hit it a bunch of times with not that hammer. That hammer is just sitting here and I didn't move it, and I'm just now realizing I probably should have before I started filming. Yeah, gotta love it. Okay, now that we have it forged out, I have kind of a line here, another line here. It's going to cut the spine of it. The blade, I just basically need to straighten up a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to angle that yet. I'll probably grind it and go from there. Then, of course, need to grind the flats of it to make it nice and smooth, and then put a nice edge on it. And probably grind this a little bit more to where it's dipped in more. Yeah, I'll kind of figure it out as I go. Okay, so I have my blade nice and shiny, ready for heat treat. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and make my guard real quick. I just have a piece of like 1 inch by 3/16 steel. I just cut it to roughly, I think it's a little under 2 inches long. I have these 2 holes drilled in the center, 3/16, about the same as the tang. I'm going to take my angle grinder, put the non-massive cutting disc in it. That's a grinding disc, not a cutting disc. I'm going to put a cutting disc in it, so less massive. Cut this little groove out, and then just take a file and kind of file out the shape. Should be simple enough. She says, feeling hopeful, even though it never is that simple. Okay, one last thing before I heat treat, and that's to put threads on the tang here so I can just screw on my pommel, which I don't have at the moment. I mean, the bolt head. I find those actually work about the best for pommels, especially for knives like these. I think they look really nice. And, you know, if you just thread them, you can screw them on, and the stacked leather handle works nicely. Help if I... Okay, I got my blade nice and hand sanded out. Sorry for the poor lighting. All of a sudden it's getting dark at 7 o'clock. So got it nice and polished out. Got it to 600 grit. Kind of giving it just before you actually start polishing out more of a satin look. I also etched my guard here, as well as my pommel, which is just the head of a hex nut. Nothing really special there. Just cut it, and then drilled a hole and threaded it, same as I usually do. Now I'm going to go put the leather handle on it. Okay, so got all these glued together. Kind of messy, but works. Put a bit of oil on this because I got this stuff on my hands, and while putting it on, got a little bit on the blade. Best way to do it is just wipe it off and put some oil. Plus,
It is fall, but it's kind of been a humid fall. It's like October 8th today. Sorry for the mower in the background. My neighbor's mowing. Yes, I have neighbors. They don't seem to complain about the noise. Anyway, so it's like October 8th. As of me saying this right now, it's like probably November 8th or somewhere around there when you're seeing this, or later. But it's like 82 today, and it's been that way for the past, several weeks. So anyway, it's kind of warm. It's been a bit humid, so I put some oil on it. Really brings out that like satin finish, which is what I like. 600 grit. Just get it to there, and you get this. It's got a nice shine to it. It's got nice smooth, but you can't see a reflection in it, or you kind of can, but it's just barely there. And that's what I like. Mostly because I've seen people mention this who also don't like it. It's like the wall hangers are always polished out, and you can do that and just kind of ruins the look. So sometimes I do it, but usually I don't. Anyway, back to a topic at hand. I'm going to start by just taking a box cutter, kind of cutting down some of these corners, evening up just a little bit. I find it's the best way to take off, larger chunks. Then I'm going to grab, let's see if I can find it in here. Sorry, all my workstations are a mess. A Ferris rasp, like these heavy teeth, slightly finer teeth. To kind of even it out, I'm going to get some heavy grit sandpaper, or belt sander, and then probably sandpaper. They kind of blend everything together, and then goes some leather dye. Best process I can, just remove the bulk. Again, you want heavy stuff, and especially with the belt sander, wear a respirator, just because this stuff stinks, so you don't want to breathe it in. But anyway, I'm going to start cutting, filing, and sanding.